Hi, I'm Julie Klein. I'm leaning in here because I have this iPad upside down. I'm going to show you how to make a background for a figure that we're going to do at our EVA demo on Thursday night, the 17th of December. And I wanted to do this so that people who make puddles won't be disappointed if their background doesn't dry in time to do it that night. So I think that people who want to try the figure for that activity, for activities that night, should go ahead and do their backgrounds beforehand. So that's why I'm doing this video, to show people how to do that. This is the figure that I sent out as source material. It's a kitty cat, of course. I have a lot of them. You can see that the darkest part of the area of the picture is here. So the first way I'm going to show you to do it is with spray paint. First thing I do is mist the Yupo with some water. I'm not making puddles. I just have a thin mist on here. I doubt you can see it on the iPad, but there aren't a lot of drips. See, when I hold it up like this, it's not dripping down onto my surface I'm working on. So he's backlit. So I'm going to make him backlit. Put my light colors around the outside and my darker colors in the inside. He is a gray tabby, and he's a little pink. I know him. You can make him any color you want to. You don't have to make him a gray tabby. You can make him an orange tabby, any color you want to. But he's a little pink on the inside, so I'm going to add some red to his middle. My spray is not working very well right now, so I may have to come back to that later. But I'll add some pink to the center, and then I'm going to put this indigo color in the middle for his main part of his body, the dark part. And I think I want to add a little blue. And you can put any colors you want. He can be a psychedelic kitty. I don't care. All right. But I don't want to get too much. I've almost gotten too much there. I'm going to get a puddle here. Actually, this is good because these kind of puddles are not going to dry quickly. And if you get them during the class, they're not going to dry. So they'll need to dry overnight. If you are more restrained, and you get areas more like this that are close but not quite touching, as they spread out, they'll get closer and closer, and they'll cover the paper, but they'll more likely dry in a shorter period of time. Okay, so I'll show you how something like this dries. It looks like it's got a lot of, but that's how something like that dries. So it's a lot more covered than it looks like. And because we're going to move the paint around on top of this Yupo paper, it doesn't matter that it's a little uneven. So don't worry about that. Okay, now it's time for I want to show you how to put a background on if you're using paintbrushes instead of spray paint. The first thing I've done is make puddles of paint on my palette, so that I don't have to make them up as I'm putting it on the Yupo paper. So I've got some blues and some pinks and some yellows and browns. All right, here's my picture I'm thinking about. Put my piece of Yupo paper down. The people that I gave Yupo to, I cut their Yupo a little more square than these scraps I'm using. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is wet my paper, and I can do this with a brush or the squirt gun. Now, I'm squirting here, all right? And I've got a lot of water on here. If you got water and it puddles off like that, it's draining off like that, do drain it off. You don't want that much water on there. But you do want your Yupo paper completely wet. So wet it completely, because you're going to be painting wet into wet. So you want it wet completely, but you don't want huge amounts of water on it. But you do want it completely wet. It's a little bit different from what you did with the spray paint. All right, so then you take your brush. It doesn't matter whether it's round or flat. And you start with your color, the dark color's in the middle where he is. That's what I'm doing. But you see, it's going to spread out because it's wet and wet. And I want to make him kind of gray. So I'm making I'm letting the colors mix on the paper. I don't want to, I like to let them mix naturally on the paper. So I'm trying to make a gray here, and then I'll put a little bit pink in. Remember, I like it. He's a little pink, especially around his head and his paws. His head and his paws. He's a little bit pink. So I'll let that kind of mix naturally, and then I'm going to put the backlight lighting. I want to get that brush a little cleaner before I do that, so it's a little more yellow. Yeah, I've got some quint gold in here, quinacridone gold, and some just regular Orlin, and then my browns. Because he's on a countertop. And all right, and so I want to have all the colors everywhere, all over the piece, to make it look a little more cohesive. So I'm going to the other thing you can do if you want to get it to cover your paper is move it around like this. You could do this with the spray paint too also. All you want is a very nice background. It could be smooth or it could be speckled like I showed you with the spray paint. And you can have a smooth or a spray or a speckled background for either project, whether you're using spray paint or your regular brushes. So it just doesn't matter. You also just want some swatches in it. Most of this will go away because I'm going to put a little more paint in here to cover these up. I don't want big holes in there because I want to be able to lift off paint, right? And he's going to be a little multicolored, but that's okay. Also, he's straight across here, straight across the top. So I want to get some of this gray going up in here and down. And he has a shadow down here that I want to make sure I get some. I don't want him to be exactly a blob in the middle, but so I want to get some of his gray and brown colors into the other parts of the picture. But there, I'm going to have the background, the main colors of the picture are already on the piece of paper. They'll dry that way, and we'll do the figure. That's all. December 17th, East Valley Artists. All you have to do is respond on Facebook or email us at eastvalleyartists@gmail.com.